A very good morning. A Sunday morning budget analysis is something beyond what even happens once in 4 years. We used to have, you remember, 28th of February, and in 4 years, you would have 29th of February. And I distinctly recall when I was still a student in the 60s at school, Finance Minister Morarji Bhai Desai used to celebrate once in 4 years his birthday with a budget because it was 29th of February. They, they were the golden days of the 60s, into inverted commas, golden days. Because when I was looking at the budget yesterday, and in fact, as examination papers are leaked out, the paper for yesterday was leaked out the day before yesterday. How? Ma Lakshmi की कृपा केवल गरीब वर्ग तो हर पार होता है, पर केवल गरीब वर्ग पर नहीं, मध्यम वर्ग पर भी माँ लक्ष्मी की कृपा की वर्षा होगी. जनरली वी से खुदा देता है तो छप्पर फाड़ के देता है, but this time it was Ma Lakshmi. And Ma Lakshmi would not do anything because the slogan here should aptly go, Modi hai to mumkin hai. This is undoubtedly Prime Minister Modi's budget. And Sawan Bhai, you were mentioning people were expecting from, it started all with Piyush Goyal, 5 lakhs, in 2019, even in an interim budget, which is very unusual. 5 to 7. And everybody was saying 7 se 8, 9, 10 tak jayenge. But 12. Now you may wonder, why 12? दोस्तों गिनती करो, मोदी जी के शासन का ये 12वां बजट था. So he does it in style. He will not do anything less. क्रिकेट में छक्का होता है, सॉरी, उन्होंने डबल छक्का मार दिया, double check. And you must have seen, when the on the television, when this 12 lakh आया, तो almost 1 minute और 12 second तक थप 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 हुआ. It was all there. Of course, there are critics who say, लोगों ने शायरी भी बनाई with memes, बार बार बिहार, यार हो जाओ तैयार, अब हार नहीं सकते बिहार. So was it a budget for Bihar? And people also said, दिल ही के लिए दिल से दिए. I wish, we had elections around the budget every year. Actually, મારા એક મિત્રએ કહ્યું just a couple of days ago કે મુકેશભાઈ, મારો જ્યોતિષ છે કહે છે કે તમારા ગ્રહો બહુ સારા છે, લક્ષ્મી દેવીની કૃપા છે. અને ગઈકાલે પહેલો ફોન આવી ગયો એનો, જો મારો જ્યોતિષ સાચો પડ્યો. One thing is for sure, Sawan Bhai, you mentioned, by a very happy coincidence, I'm proud that it's a 45-year-long journey for AMA. And for me, having been baptized by my budget guru, Nani Palkhiwala. It is 49th year, started in 77. So next year will be a golden jubilee. I hope for the very best. But, but I must make this statement that no finance minister has had the courage, the foresight, the vision, or rather the government also never, the prime, because nothing can happen just by the finance minister. It has to be backed by the finance minister. Even if you recall, when Manmohan Singh presented historic budgets in the 90s, he is on record to have said that he got the courage and the power from Narasimha Rao. So, you need 56 की छाती होनी चाहिए पीछे तब फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर कुछ दिल से दे सकता है. And I was trying to analyze what has possibly not totaled up, at least in this 21st century, 25 years of budgets. If you consider the tax reliefs, the total will not come up to 100,000 crores of tax reliefs that have been given. Unquestionable. And as I will take you through, and we will go into the fortunately, we have had this model where we now get an opportunity to even interact with our audience. So I just want to tell you, friends, I am going to present, in fact, the number of proposals are few, very few, compared to maybe a new bill is coming. So they didn't want to unveil too much except what was necessary. But whatever is there, we need to understand. And as it normally happens, because as long as bureaucrats are there are going to be chills also along with the thrills. So there are not just the thrills of the tax savings, there are also the chills of, the tax pinches that, we will be talking about. So friends, let me now come up to the budget. And before I go into the specifics, I want to share some broad statistics as to why and how this government could have the courage to give such significant reliefs. And some very interesting statistics I tried to collect. Just 5 years ago, this was budget for financial year 25-26 to come. But 5 years ago, 2021, friends, the tax collections at that time were, if we talk of income tax, I'm not talking of corporation tax, because corporation tax, there is not a penny of relief this time. It's all about income tax. So income tax collections 5 years ago were 487,000 crores. 487,000 crores. Okay? Out of a total direct tax revenue of around 900,000 plus. In 25-26, in 5 years, friends, this has been projected at 1,483,000 crores. Please understand. So that means in 5 years, there is a rise of almost 300%, close to 295% to be specific. 300%. When in 5 years your personal tax revenue has grown like this, in fact, this fifth year is still an estimate, but even if we take the fourth year, still it is close to 250%. So it's not a small thing. So there has been a huge leap in the personal tax revenue collection. And that has emboldened the finance minister to give this significant reliefs. And what is this relief? What does it transpire to? What does it work out to? Please understand. I am just taking one figure as a benchmark because in the good old days, I remember when I used to talk about the budget, I used to say 100,000 because that was a rate where above 100,000 you had your maximum marginal rate, which was, like once upon a time, I'm not talking of the 90s, but I'm talking of even 70, 66, 50. And I know of the jubilations that when tax was reduced from 66 to 50 and 50 to 40, there were celebrations even more galore than when you have won the World Cup cricket, because that was the taxpayers. But still, it was, the 100,000, 150,000, then it went to 500, 10 lakhs, it came to 15, and from that, 24 lakhs. So one thing is there. Now, as taxpayers, one thing is definitely simple: 4, 8, 16, 20, 24. You have to remember this, right? And I'll come to that on the slide. Let me take the slide also. Yeah. So just keep in mind, friends, I was talking about 5 years ago. Before I come to the slide, I want to just remind you on this 24 lakhs, which you see here, what is the tax ultimately? It is 300,000 in the middle column, tax under proposed new regime. Let me just explain the columns. Here, the first column is tax under the old regime, total income. Of course, it's not an apple to apple comparison because if it is old regime, there would have been a few deductions, etc. But nonetheless, I have just kept it here. Compare tax under the existing new regime. It was 410,000 last year, means the current year, and next year it is going to be 300,000. And therefore, you have a relief of this 110,000 is what you remember. But keeping 110,000, because this is a journey, the new scheme, and the new scheme, the philosophy is very few exemptions, virtually no deductions, no other reliefs except the rebate. Keep it simple, keep it sweet, and lower the tax rates. So I want to, if you were a taxpayer in 2021, friends, and you are earning 24 lakhs, you would have paid tax of 4 lakhs 57,500. I'm just telling you the figure. You can go home and check it, but that's what it is. And in 25, 26, it is now going to be only 300,000. So in 5 years, as I pointed out, there has been almost 3 times revenue collection jump, but even the taxpayers have got a 1/3, close to 1/3. 450 plus has come down to 300,000. And when you look at this 300,000, what does that transpire to on 24 lakhs? It is just 12.5%. Think about it, friends. There was a lot of criticism which people used to make. कि साले market में कमाते हैं नसीब से, and you just put your fingers on the computer like this and you get concessional rates. As I will come later, market rates, market gain rates are no longer going to be that concessional as compared to your normal income. At least for a salaried employee, 24 lakhs if he's earning, and plus the 75,000, and of course plus 80 CCD2 if he's planning for his retirement. So there are still scopes for plus plus plus. But even if I take 24 lakhs, fundamentally, right, it is 12.5% average rate, which is just phenomenal. And if it is to go to 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, even 50 lakhs, friends, if you are earning 50 lakhs, what is your tax that you will pay now? 10 lakhs and 80,000. So what is the average rate? 21.6%. For sake of simplicity, I have not added the education cess. But if on 50 lakhs, and this is just the individual, we don't have a joint return, please understand. So you can earn for yourself, you can earn for your wife. If you are a joint family, you have your son, daughter-in-law, you have your own HUF, you can have your son's HUF. Just imagine, friends, it can grow like a banyan tree. So tax planning now really becomes so exciting, because you can do so much, so many permutations, combinations, etc. In fact, you'll have to be smart because, as I'll point out, some of these budget provisions are quite mischievous, even to some extent notorious, if I would say. And so, if you are not smart, you may end up in paying taxes which you should not really be. So, I'll come to that later. But this was just to give you a little background of what the scenario is. You know. So, after having taken a look at this, friends, let me come to now the revenue growth. And I'll make my last observation in terms of, if I have to just make one statement, but I'll support it with an analysis. Well, in giving this relief of 100,000 crores, the FM has even to some extent gambled. But then, if you want to do something adventurous, you have to be prepared to gamble. As you rightly mentioned, this 100,000 crores is going to come back to the economy. It will fuel consumption. It will raise and hike up the GST, etc. But some very interesting figures I want to share with you, friends. If you take a look at the revenue collections last year and what are projected this year, in customs and excise, it is just 2 to 3%, 4% growth, obviously, because there's not much of scope. In corporation tax also, against 980,000 last year, they have projected 1,082,000. So it's just about 4%. GST about 11%, because GST last year means the current year, the revised estimate is 10,62,000. They have projected it to 11,78,000. So when we come to this, please understand, as far as personal income tax is concerned, 12 lakhs and 57,000 crores was the, or rather is the revised estimate. They are expecting to collect that. That will be done. There is no doubt about it. They are exceeding the budget. But out of this 1257, when we look at the next year, 100,000 they are already giving relief. So it will be 1157 if we go on the same benchmark. And they have projected income tax collection at 14 lakhs 38,000. So that means it should, it is a growth of 24.2%. 24.2% after taking out the relief. Now the question is, when your other taxes are going to grow at 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, will this be able to spur a revenue collection and growth of almost 24%? In fact, this is one concern, and maybe a valid concern of the economists. But as I said, history has proved it, that people will be more emboldened, when you will be told कि भाई 24 लाख रुपया, 24 लाख का रिटर्न भरने में लोग झिझकते थे अभी तक. अब उनको कोई कहेगा भैया कमाते हो तो डरो मत, 24 लाख पर आप क्या भरोगे? Only 12.5%. It's just like capital gains. Pay. So if there is higher and better voluntary compliance, friends, it will work the magic. So now this chart which I said is comparison of the liability. Now I come to, because there has been a lot of talk about zero tax on 12 lakhs. See, I remember now, of course, people do understand what is rebate and all that. But in 2019, when it was announced that up to 5 lakhs you don't have to pay tax, okay, exemption limit 5 lakh नहीं थी. अरे बाबा, exemption limit is even today. Please understand, 4 lakhs is the basic exemption limit, and then 4 to 8, 5%, 8 to 12, as you know. I'll come to that slide next. So that is what it is going to be. But as far as this earlier slide is concerned, please keep in mind that this special benefit of zero tax status is available to whom? There are conditions to be fulfilled. Firstly, only individual taxpayers. That too, residents. So if you are an NRI or if you are an HUF, AOP, BOI, this table is not for you. Because, of course, after the 12 lakhs, you will be at par. But until 12 lakhs, this is a 12 लाख तक टैक्स नहीं भरने का है. अगर 12 लाख से आपकी इनकम कम है तो that is only and only for resident individuals. And there is one more rider to it, which I'm going to go and delve into it a bit much deeper, and that is, it has to be normal income. Because people ask, zero tax કેવી રીતે થાય? See what happens. 4 lakhs exempt, 4 to 8 is 5%, so 20,000. 8 to 12 is another 10,000, 10%. So there is 40,000. So 20,000 and 40,000. What is the tax on 12 lakhs? 60,000. So you have this special section of rebate under section 87A. And that rebate provision says that you will get rebate of up to 60,000 rupees. So if you have your 12 lakhs of regular income, tax payable is 60,000, you will get a rebate of 60,000. So effective tax is zero. Now it is going to open it has already opened, and it's going to open the Pandora's box, because the FM said, even in her speech, that on the regular or normal income. So if you have income chargeable to tax at special rates, like capital gains, like lottery, so Wait. There is a debate about a rebate, and we are going to go into it. Okay. So keep this in mind, friends. But we'll take that debate on rebate a little later. But before that, let me come to this even NRIs, HUFs, AOPs, BOIs, friends, they will all enjoy substantial tax benefit. Why? Because of the rationalization of tax slabs. And let me tell you, as far as the old is concerned, it is time to say bye bye. Bye bye. Sayonara. उसको हम शान से दफनाएंगे, because for all practical purposes, year after year they've been trying to innovate in such a way. Now it's virtually impossible that under the old scheme, because you have only 5, 20, and 30% rates, and that too starting only going only up to 10 lakhs, and that too with a rebate of only 12,500. So forget it, friends. In fact, I may not be surprised at all. The new bill will have nothing to say about the old. So it's just about a week. We have to wait and watch. So forget now. જૂનીને ભૂલી જવાની, હા, ઘરવાળીને નહીં, હા. નહીં તો માર પડશે અને ઘરે જઈને મને ગાળ પડશે કે આ મુકેશભાઈ આવું શીખવાડે છે. સો એનીવે, કેમ બધા આટલા એક્સાઇટ થઈ ગયા જૂની ને નવીની વાત આવી તો? So friends, now on this slide which I was showing you, even HUFs, NRIs, AOPs, BOIs, as I pointed out, the tax relief in this earlier slide, because after 12 lakhs, 16, 20, 24, the maximum benefit you will get is up to 110,000 rupees. 1,10,000 रुपया. कौन बनेगा करोड़पति, कौन बनेगा, किसने बनाया लखपति एक टैक्स पेयर को? It is miraculous, and as you rightly said, beyond our expectations. It's a dream. Dream is now too small because we've had dream budgets. This is much beyond, much beyond. So friends, this is as far as even, so please keep in mind why I'm saying this, because we'll have questions and I'll take them. So now you have to work out, okay? You will have yourself individually, you'll have your wife, you'll have your son, you'll have your daughter-in-law, you'll have your HUF, with so many entities. आप आसानी से फैमिली की करोड़पति की इनकम तो रख सकते हैं. Of course, people say, just don't give us the tax relief, give us the income, because you need first income to enjoy a tax relief. Huh? But that apart, friends, now I have to come to the much debated topic, the debate on the tax rebate. These were just the 2 slides. I'll need one more slide later. I'll come to that. Now, friends, as far as the rebate provision is concerned, and this controversy, in fact, it started only very recently when people filed their tax returns for 24-25. Until 5th of July 2024, as you know, the income tax utility was allowing that you could claim tax rebate even in respect of your short-term capital gains on equity under section 111A and your long-term capital gains under 112. The only bar was 112A, LTCG on equity, because there is a specific provision in the section itself that no rebate under section 87A will be there. But, I had been openly canvassing, and I've done it on this floor. Soundbhai will recall last year also I said, So, and honestly speaking, this is what I'm going to say. Why should there be any discrimination on the regular income and income which is chargeable at special rates? In any case, what have you said? Two things, please remember. You have said you will get the rebate only if your total income is less than 12 lakhs, okay? And secondly, what's the second condition? The maximum rebate you will get is only 60,000. Now, friends, having said this, what does this budget? Yesterday, I had to say in my program in Hindi कि ये बजट की वाह के साथ करदाताओं के लिए कुछ आह है, आह निकल जाएगी. It's like you are given a bouquet of roses, but आप गुलाब को पकड़ने जाएंगे. Thank you, Devesh bhai, you had no thorns that you gave us. But in the FM's rose, you will have the thorn prick immediately. And I'll explain to you how the thorn will prick you. So we may say it's a dream budget, but there are taxpayers who will also scream. It's not going to be a dream without a scream. So let me come to this now and start with an example. Say I am taking a case of 12 lakhs of income, 12 lakh. And that income comprises of two components. One is 8 lakhs, say taxable salary or interest, dividend, etc. at normal rates. And there is a 4 lakhs income. And now who does not have a demat account? And who does not get at least IPO में कुछ भर दिया, लग गया, तो बेच डालो, short term capital gain हो गया equity का. You want STCG on equity. You used to pay 15%, you don't mind paying now even 20%. So what happens? In this case, 12 lakhs, you have 4 lakhs which will be taxed at 20% special rate. So what will be the tax on that? 80,000 rupees. On your 8 lakhs of normal income, 4 lakhs will be exempt, and on the remaining 4 lakhs at 5%, it will be 20,000. So 80 and 20, 100,000. Your income is below 12 lakhs. So at least out of 100,000, what would you expect? सु मलू जो मने क्या मिलना चाहिए? 60,000 मिलना चाहिए ना? It's simple, logical, equitous. But they say no. Wait. You will not get any rebate out of your tax on the special income. So against your 20,000 normal tax, you will get 20,000 rebate. You have a unutilized rebate of 40,000, but that will not be allowed against this 80,000. So what will happen? You will still have to pay 80,000 rupees by way of tax, when you could have ended up paying only 40, because out of 100, if you had got 60, 40. Why? Friends, this big why is what we need to ask the FM. Why? What wrong has a taxpayer done if he is an investor and he is also earning? He is not asking कि मुझे 12 लाख पर जीरो टैक्स कर दो, मेरा 20% वाला है उसको भी माफ कर दो. No. All that is saying, you are giving 60,000 to all. I have income below 12 lakhs. Whatever is my tax, give me this relief. Friends, imagine the case of an old father, senior citizen. His son is somewhere abroad, NRI, etc. And the father has got a house. He is selling that house. There is a gain of 10 lakhs. gain of 10 lakhs. He has no other income. Senior citizen. Now, on 10 lakhs, 4 lakhs is exempt. On the remaining 6 lakhs at 12.5%, he has to pay 75,000. In the normal course, he would have paid only 15,000 because he would have got the rebate of 60,000. But here, he is getting only 10 lakhs of a long-term gain from a house and he has no other income. Still, he will end up paying 75,000 rupees. Is it fair? Is it equitous? So, friends, yesterday I said this 12 lakhs is like a big hoarding. We have these hoardings even here on the roadside outside AMA. उनमें जो है what happens? You have that small asterisk. ફૂદડી વગર તો આજે દુનિયા ચાલતી જ નથી. હા, ફૂદડી હોય અને ફૂદડી તમને ફેરવે. ફૂદડીમાં નીચે શું લખ્યું હોય? T&C. હવે તો terms and conditions apply. So this T&C, of this special income, and it's, on one hand you are talking of introducing a bill which is half the size, which will be bringing simplification, rationalization, no litigation. And friends, I don't want to take much time, but this has already knocked the doors of the Bombay High Court in the case of Chamber of Tax Consultants. So Bombay High Court probably placed faith in the fairness of the department and said कि भी आप इसका रास्ता निकालना. But in any case, allow the utility to be making a claim. And I am told that even after whatever was done, still the department has stuck to its stand. And in this budget, please keep in mind, Sarmaji, you remember that there is no amendment about 87A and the special income. It is only that they have taken a view and they want to stick by that view. I would say it's time that, something is done. Otherwise, what will happen? We know very well. Say you have to go from Ahmedabad to Baroda. Your toll used to be 100 rupees. Sound right? Now it has been raised to 500. What will people do? They will not pay 500. They'll say, we want to go to Baroda, we can still go via the bypass. Not go through the toll by breaking the rules, but they'll say, okay, I have the option. एक 10 मिनट 15 मिनट વધારે લાગશે કઈ વાંધો નહીં, but I'll take because it's 500 rupees worth saving. This is what is going to happen. And why do you want that? Let me explain to you. Because once upon a time, Yatindrabhai, this 10%, 15%, 20% of the special rates on capital gains, they were concessions. Now, as I said, even up to 50 lakhs, your rate is only 21.6. On 24 lakhs, your normal income is 12.5% tax. So what will happen? Say I am getting 24 lakhs of short-term gains from equity. અને અમદાવાદી છે, ભલે નર્મદાનું પાણી આવી ગયું પણ સાબરમતીની અસર તો જાય નહીં ને. So he will find out the way. What will he do? He will say, okay, I don't want 24 lakhs is what I am likely to make. I will not make it. The short-term capital gains under 111A, because STCG under 111A is when you have paid STT, Securities Transaction Tax. But you have the option to do an off-market transaction with your demat slip. At the market rate, you can do an off-market transaction. Is there anything illegal about it? My friends who are from the tax profession, yes or no? Is there anything illegal? No. I can do that? Yes. So if I have to pay on 24 lakhs, as per the view that the department is maintaining, they will allow me only 4 lakhs of exemption. And on the 20 lakhs, they will charge at 20% 4 lakhs from me. And if I show this as normal income, what will I pay? Only 3 lakhs. 3 lakhs because that's the income tax. 1 लाख रुपया बचता है और उसके लिए क्या करना है? कुछ नहीं. You are even saving your STT because government is going to lose STT if people do these off-market transactions. Why do you want to? लोगों को गलत क्यों सिखा रहे हैं आप? They are not doing even tax evasion, but they are very smartly avoiding the tax. So, my point of view is you should not, in fact, somebody can even go and say, okay, I still want to save even more tax. So what will he do? He will say, until now, I was earning short-term gains from the market. उसमें भी झगड़े का स्कोप रहता था. You used to say that this is business income and used to. So now I'll say that 24 lakhs of capital gains is not my capital gains. It is my income from business from securities. So once I say it is my business income, I can even claim expenses. If not more, I am not going under 44 AD. Also, I am going genuinely. Telephone, car, driver, petrol, depreciation. का खर्चा मैं ले सकता हूं 24 लाख में से. So from 24 lakhs, if I take 4 lakhs as a deduction and 20 lakhs, on 20 lakhs, what is the tax that I pay? Please, now if on 24 lakhs, I was paying 300,000. On that 4 lakhs at 25%, that's the slab rate, 1 lakh less. So I'll be paying only 2 lakhs. If this was offered as short-term capital gains, I would have paid 4 lakhs. If I do off market, 3 lakhs. And if I'm even smarter, and you don't want to lose that tag of being a smart taxpayer, after all, when you can do it lawfully and legally, you don't want to lose that. So you will say, okay, आप मेरे से 4 मांगते हैं, चलो मैं 2 दे के दिखाता हूं. Why? Friends, I feel very strongly about this. I'll just leave it here, but I would strongly urge whoever has a voice, they should ensure that taxpayers are not tempted to this kind of circumvention, apart from the fact that there will be Pandora's box which will be opened, litigation and whatnot, right? Well, friends, there is not much. I will have questions now after a while. I'll just wrap up on some of the few other proposals. So as I said, you have a lot of good news. What is disturbing is only up to those having income up to 12 lakhs and special income. Otherwise, no problems. But even if you have higher income, you will now. So in fact, I am going to say when we'll have the new bill, we need to really, raise this poser that historically you always wanted capital market participation at concessional rates. But now with the new structure, if you don't review your tax rates, and this is what the capital market is waiting for. I think if they once again slide down some long-term or short-term capital gain rates, I think the market will really boost up. And in fact, in this last 5 years, a lot of the tax contribution has come from the market. So let us not completely ignore what the markets also have to say. Friends, I am very happy. And why I said all this? Because it always pays to raise your voice. Awaaz uthao, suni jayegi. And this is exactly, I'm very humbly, but modestly proud of. If you recall, friends, in August of 2024, a notification came. And those of you who would have paid taxes from 1987 to 1992, you must be familiar about Section 87 CCA, and the NSS, National Savings Scheme. Who are familiar? Raise your, many of you, right? And to many of you then are now senior citizens. And I know, in my programs of Tax Guru, in my other write-ups with newspapers, I used to get so many representations when people were so disturbed because you were told that from 30th September onwards, utha lo ye NSS. We will not give you any interest. People said, don't mind, but uthayenge to kya? Why were you sticking to your NSS 87 to 92 for all these years, 33 years you had kept your holding? Why? Because it was like a life insurance policy exemption. You were told that if you had, and let me tell you, in those 5 years, you may have invested around average close to 200,000, because 30, 40,000 is what you could have invested. Now that 200,000 with the interest rates, and some years were when small savings gave you double digit rates. Almost in most of the cases, 18, 20 lakhs, 20 lakhs was the average investment, and they were worried. I used to get frantic calls, ke 20 lakh per tax dena hoga, so we'll get into the 30% rate and all that. And why should we pay tax just because you are changing your rule? And I had at that time, friends, done a video with the title Tax Shock from NSS Knock. And I had raised my voice and motivated taxpayers and investors कि आप FM को लिखो. That जो वादा किया वो निभाना पड़ेगा. You had said that, it will be exempt in the hands of legal heirs. Now you are not even allowing me to let it go to my legal heirs. At least give me the exemption. So friends, fortunately, the good news is those who had this 15, 18, 20 lakhs in their NSS accounts, finally, the FM said, we have received a lot of representations, we are doing something. And exemption has been granted. So this is going to be a big relief for, and don't worry, because there's people, जिन्होंने 1st October को उठा लिया पैसा. But right from August onwards, after the notification came, whatever you have withdrawn, keep in mind the whole of the amount is going to be tax-free. And I would say for such a gesture, the FM does really deserve compliments, because this is the minimum that you could have done. Because majority of these NSS holders are all senior citizens. From those times to now, 35 years because you would have become a senior citizen. So otherwise, friends, are all cosmetics. We did have annual value of 2 properties, as it is nil. You are only clarified that there will be no conditions now, that if it is like this and that, welcome provision. Startups, they have given extension up to 2030, very welcome. They've clarified about unit-linked insurance policies, that don't worry, it will be taxed as capital gains when it is to be taxed. Now I come to one more slide, and virtually we will be through, friends. We'll be going to questions. And here is Budget 2025, raising threshold limits for TDS. Now don't be overexcited about this, because just because you have not to deduct TDS, or your TDS is not deducted, or TCS is not collected, does not mean that it's a relief. Anything more is going to come in your pocket. It's only that it will temporarily not go out of your pocket and then come back again. Because TDS and TCS, as you know, it is only tax deduction or collect. So it's a very welcome provision. I am happy about it. I don't need to do much except invite your attention to this chart, that the threshold limits which were there, they have been raised. And the good news is, particularly, one is for the senior citizens, friends. The senior citizens, 194, the bank interest, it is raised to 100,000 as compared to 50. So if you have deposits with bank, no TDS here. But in any case, keep in mind, I'll take the question. I know it's going to come. Senior citizens now, even if they have income less than 12 lakhs interest, they can file the form 15H. I'll come to that later. So just take a quick look at this, and I think it does not require much attention beyond that. So let me go to TCS. Again, there is some good news. There is a rationalization. Uh, you know, uh, there was something where both TDS and TCS was collected on purchases, etc. They say that there will be no TCS in respect of those purchases. There was one provision which was a big irritant as far as TDS and TCS is concerned, that I am making payment to somebody. He has not done his Aadhaar PAN linking, or he is a non-filer. I don't know. So I would deduct, say, 1% or 2%. And then the TDS department or TCS authority will send me a notice. You have to pay at a higher rate, 20%. So your 1% or 2% and 20%. You know, because how do I know that you are a non-filer, or that your Aadhaar PAN is not linked, etc. I think this is one very positive measure step taken for ease of doing business, and that is only in cases of taxpayers who do not have PAN, you have to deduct at a higher rate. Otherwise, non-filers and cases of non-PAN Aadhaar linking from next year onwards, friends, you don't have to worry. Your LRS, which you used to make, there was an exemption of 7 lakhs. Now they've raised it to 10 lakhs. If it is an educational loan, I think these are all provisions, friends, you are all very familiar with. So I'll not take much time. I'll just come to maybe the last provision. Gift City always focuses in every budget, and there is a package of proposals. There is something on transfer pricing again, but that again is for my professionals, brothers. I will virtually conclude here because it's about an hour, and my idea was to wrap up in 1 hour and then take questions. Have my dear friend Savan raise them on your behalf, or even later on, if required, you could clarify your own point of view. But let me take up the last point on the procedural front, which I think uh, has a little bit of humorous element into it, and I don't understand why this kind of a provision should be there. Now, updated return. You must have heard in the budget speech yesterday. The FM said, because this was something which was brought in 2 years ago, and they said that, you have missed, because now your return filing is real time virtually before the financial year ends. December, Vauto, Sankelile, it is July, September, October, December, November, December. That's it. After December, you cannot do anything, not even revise your return. So, if, for example, you have realized some mistake, blunder, this, that, you have an opportunity for making an updated return within 2 years. I'm not going into all the detailed procedures, but there again, if it is to be updated, there has to be an extra load. So the extra load was that you had to pay 25% if it was 1 year. If you were a little more lazy, you would have had to pay 50%. And they said, now we'll give you 2 more years. Hmm? So, but again, the price goes 60%. 50%, 60% in case of the third year delay of the aggregate tax and interest, which they charge as additional tax, and 70% aggregate tax and interest. Now just imagine, and here again there is a rider, that if the department has given you a notice for reopening, if they have discovered something, then of course you are in trap. पकड़े गए तो अब हम आपको छोड़ेंगे नहीं. But you want to come with a voluntary disclosure, do that. Do that. Now, friends, I must acknowledge my friend Mr. Sharma, chartered accountant. Yesterday he sent me a detailed working. And he said कि भाई 4 साल के बाद अगर किसी को ऑनेस्ट बनना है अपडेटेड के लिए तो 100 रुपये के सामने शर्मा जी कितना भरना पड़ेगा 106 because what will happen 4 years interest tax and 70% to be calculated by way of additional tax એટલે ઘાટ કરતા ઘડામણ મોંઘું થઈ જાય so and that too you will say કે અરે યાર તમે તો મને નોટિસ આપી નથી તો મારે ભલે રામનવમી નો દિવસે જન્મ્યો હોઉં પણ હવે કઈ બધામાં મારે ભગવાન રામ થવું જેવું કઈ લખેલું છે એમ so you may want to question. But you know, the real comedy of errors, and I fail to understand how they could have even thought of such a provision. And you know, they made the FM read it in the speech also. And what is the provision? They say that if you know we had given you a notice for reopening, then obviously you cannot come for an updated return, right? But they say that okay, if we had given you a notice and you had replied कि भाई मैंने कुछ गलत नहीं किया है and we have accepted your reply that you have not done anything and therefore your case is closed, but you are now given the option of coming forward and filing an updated return because now there is no notice under 140. अरे भाई कोर्टे एम कहूं कि तमे खून કર્યું નથી आपने कुछ गलत नहीं किया है आपने चोरी नहीं की चपाटी नहीं की खून नहीं किया आप छूट गए that is like a 148 being dropped but then you are told अरे पर आपको honestly कह गए मैंने तो I was the one who did it you know and I will not be able to sleep if I so I want to file a case against my own self. I don't know. When the department has given me a clean chit, why do you want? You are talking of a new bill, and I wonder if this is going to be the manner in which the provisions of the new bill are going to be drafted. That we exonerate you, but you are welcome to come and admit something and pay this 106, as you said. Well, friends, this is in any case going to continue. Finance ministers will come and finance ministers will go. But AMA will go on forever. And of course, it is so heartening. You know, I just want to say 2 more lines. It's so heartening to see so many faces. Of course, face recognition, you know, is always there. There may have been change here or black and white and gray and whatnot, wrinkles. But I am so glad to see on a Sunday morning, AMA has a packed auditorium. And the best thing is that I want to also tell you, friends, AMA, yes, how many? 600 are live. And last year on YouTube, you know, Finance Bill Chills and Thrills, हमारी जोड़ी ने, we had views on YouTube of AMA close to 8,000. So thank you, AMA. And friends, this, you can go on AMA if you want to, you think that you have missed out something, you want to rehear again, feel free, you want to share it with your friends. I want to, before I, you know, complete, oh yes, I must personally thank GTPL, you know, one of the most popular channels. Thank you so much. Thank you, Devang Bhai. He's been a great friend of AMA. And of course, I must thank all my friends of the media, whether they are here or not. I know because there are media friends also now who like to make use of our YouTube. They'll say, "Hame Raivar savare ghare baitha, we'll do the coverage. Why do we want to come and sit here?" So anyway, friends, I want to thank all those who have supported us for all these years. And particularly on a Sunday morning, I want to thank each one of you who have taken out the pains to come here. And special compliments to my team at AMA for so wonderfully coordinating and organizing this. Umesh bhai, you and your team. Let's give a round of applause to all of them. And we have, as per the commitment made, we have 40 minutes of time for question answers. Not that we need to take the whole of it, but if required, we can do justice to it. Thank you so much. Oh,
Mukesh bhai,
let me see. These questions are almost half the size of the new bill that is going to come. The FM said that the bill is going to be half the size of the act, but these questions are half the size of the bill.
maybe as much the new bill. So yeah,
So I think the camera focuses here, right? The YouTube still continues, please.
so Mukesh bhai, of course, as you can see, there are so many questions coming in, and
But
of
I'm
course,
sure you will do the quality management.
article of, and I was trying to remove the duplicates. There
Yeah,
are
yeah,
quite
of
a many
course,
duplicates, of course.
of course.
I'll start with the question. Of course, they are not any in any sequence. But
Please.
so normal income 12 lakh, 1 lakh STCG you mentioned, but maybe for the sake of repetition, 87 capital A.
Well, friends, if in every budget there is something good or bad, which allows AMA to at least consume 90 minutes of its quality time. If this this debate had not been there, probably it would all have been wah wah wah. And but I am glad that this was an issue which was required to be raised. I want to ask you, friends. I have shared my views. And I believe very strongly. Let me ask you. Say just yes or no. Do you agree with my view that there should be no discrimination as far as rebate is concerned with reference to normal income and special income, more particularly when you have these two parameters, including three parameters: individual, resident, 12 lakhs, and 60,000? Should there be a discrimination? Say it loudly. I don't want you to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, but at least say loudly, huh? No. Right? Anybody feels yes? No, right. This message must go to the FM. I would request even GTPL, to see that Devang Bhai ko kehna ki these few clips should go and should become viral, because it's only after this NSS plea people had lost their hopes. People had even paid advance tax. I know those who were senior citizens who had business income and who had drawn NSA ke vyaj bharu na pade, to let's pay advance tax. The good news is you're going to get the refund. So don't give up. Huh? You can still make it in the last over when only 6 balls are there. And when you have even 34 runs to score, you can still win the match, right? So don't give up the hope. I think I have dwelt enough. Is there any specific question on rebate? So let's filter that out.
The very next question,
Yeah,
this
please.
NSS. So the 87A, there are repeat questions,
Yeah.
but everybody is concerned that if I have these capital gains and also
Yeah.
the normal income under 12 and then capital gains, whether within 12 or so, that is abundantly clarified, but a lot of people have that
No,
question.
I can only say one thing. We will have more time to maybe talk about this. But the good news is, when the public interest litigation on this point and I was amongst the first, I remember last year in July, the Times of India carried a series of my views on that. And I said very boldly that this is wrong, this is highly questionable, and if at all you have your view, you must make the amendment. But without amending the law, you cannot deprive that. And what I was, Savan Bhai, looking yesterday at the budget documents, I feared that they would have brought some amendment on this and tried to, just finish off this controversy. Then we could not have done anything. But they have kept it wide open. So the good news is I think if there is persistent litigation, I know it's a small amount. It used to be like 25,000 last year, but now it could be even 60,000. So why, if you have only capital gains incomes, it would be 60,000, and 60,000 is not a small amount. So I would still say, you know, uh, don't give up hope. We will try to do our best, and we must tell the FM why. Why? In any case, you are taking 20% tax from me, which 20% tax, it is attracted at which slab, between 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs. So normal income 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs, there is 20%, and I have income less than 20 lakhs, between 4 and 12, and you want to tax my short-term gains, at 20%, and don't not even give me the rebate to which I am entitled to, right? Okay, so that's it.
Yeah, this you clarified that
And of
NSS
course,
withdrawal.
friends, I would not uh, have wanted to say anything different, but I only want to tell why I gave these examples of circumvention. Not that I want to encourage you or sort of motivate you or excite you to do so. I only want to tell the authorities that why are you, when you are talking of simplification, why are you wanting taxpayers to use these circuitous routes to ultimately lawfully save tax? And then you cannot. Somebody said, "Hum gar layenge." But I said, wait a minute. For gar, you know what is the limit? 3 crores. So you can't bring gar for 60,000. Right? Okay.
There's a question on capital gains,
Yes.
not to do with maybe new provisions, but capital gains. If I could not invest in a house within the time frame that after selling the house,
Mhm.
what is the remedy?
Invest in
Or
the house or in the
I
uh,
am supposed to invest in the
or in
house
the
after
capital
sale
gain account scheme.
or capital gain account, but that my 2 year or 3 year period gets
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
over,
yeah.
and there's some reason
Well,
when I will have
you
to.
will you
Hmm.
will need to. I don't want to take much time. There are some ITAT judgments that can give you a slight ray of hope, but you have to be prepared for litigation in any case because you've not followed the rules.
What would be the criteria to treat an investment in mutual fund as a business income? That there is any
See, let
scope?
me tell you. Until now, I was earning capital gains, and department used to say that I am doing business. Courts have said that whether it is capital gains or it is business, it is the discretion of the SSC. And if you want to do business, in fact, I would say it does make sense for those investors or taxpayers who are indulging in very frequent market transactions. So, because in any case, now nobody is going to raise dispute if you are within that. Unless you come in the 30% bracket, they will raise dispute. But if you are in that 20%, they will not raise dispute because they know that in any case you are paying higher tax. But friends, let me tell you, business income out of securities, I want to just say, because we have said this, tactical case studies and strategies. So I want to share this with you publicly. This gyan is, meant for all. The CBDT has laid clear guidelines, and it says even this, that in the case of one individual taxpayer, he can have two portfolios. He can have an investment portfolio and he can have a business portfolio. You have to identify those scripts, and the best thing you would be advised to do is you maintain two separate demat accounts. Have one demat account where you have all your business scripts, have another demat account where you have your investment scripts. And the advantage, out of capital gains, as you know, you will not get any benefit except long term, you get that 1 lakh and 25,000. Short term, there is virtually nothing except, the brokerage, and even STT is not allowed, as you know. As far as business is concerned, you know, If you are not wanting to maintain books, etc., you can show 6% or higher, because in any case, they are going to be all check transactions, 44 AD. Or, friends, I would say, we know you are going to be earning much more than 6%. So be honest, show all your earnings, claim expenses, because you can claim expenses. And now, as you know, the limits for audit are quite high. So you can maintain. If you are showing anything more than 6%, you need not even maintain books of accounts. See, that's the advantage. You can do your business, and in any case, F&O is treated as business. So have your business status. You have, if you are only one, you can maintain two portfolios. If you are in a family, you have more than one entities. One of the family members could be doing business, the others could be having investment portfolios. In fact, we could have a whole session on this, and capital gains and business and market and securities. Of course, all eyes are on Monday, that is tomorrow. What is going to happen? Because there were once upon a time only bulls and bears, but now there is a third animal that has crept up, or a third entity, I would say, with respect, and that is Trump. It's not just bulls or bears. It could be, even if bulls and bears have nothing to say, still Trumps will come in. And you may say that मैं तारीफ कर रहा हूं, but he is actually talking about tariff, right? See, this has been going
And nobody has
on,
a
doing the
trump card
rounds.
for that.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So
Okay.
long-term cap, you have mentioned 1010D ULIPs will be taxed as capital gains.
Capital gains, yes, unless they are those policies where all 1010D elements are fulfilled, yes. But this clarification is useful, Savanbhai, because people were worried that it would be taxed as normal income, which would have attracted 30%. So here you have long-term capital gains, 12.5% to your rescue. Yes.
There's a question which I'm not understanding as much, but there's an income from social media platforms.
Mhm.
Does it fall under special income? I don't know.
No, no. So social media is business income.
It's
There is nothing like
any
special.
such.
And what you have to do is you must learn the art of making special income your normal income, so that you can enjoy rebate. Huh?
So withdrawal NSS now has a tax-free
Yeah.
benefit, which you mentioned. And what will be the case for HUF? Does that also apply to HUF?
I'm glad. I'm sorry I missed clarifying that. I must compliment our readers, for the meticulous precision with which they are coming up
Manobhai
with.
Thakkar has asked this question.
Unfortunately, I don't know why HUFs have been left out. Because after all, if the Karta, poor fellow, is a senior citizen, and who has also, unfortunately, the amendment mentions only individuals. There is no bar for NRIs. So even if you are a non-resident, you are still an individual, you can claim. But if you are an HUF, I'm sorry, but they don't have much of sympathy. Right.
And this 75,000 deduction for pensioners,
That's standard deduction.
that continues. That's
Of
like a
course.
salary.
Of
Right?
course.
So
Of
that
course,
continues
of course,
naturally.
yes.
Do you think the status of EEE, exempt, will be continuing for the PPF in the new tax bill? Or they would start
Keep your
taxing it?
fingers crossed, friends. In less than a week, we will be all. And
Aware.
Savanbhai will do one thing. I would like to ensure this house. Of course, this is we've done it every time. We did it, if you remember, when the direct tax code came in 2009. And in this very auditorium, you will recall we had Mr. Yashwant Sinha also, the then finance minister, who was chairing the select committee, and we made presentation. So one thing I can assure you, friends, give us some time, but AMA will keep up to its tradition. We will certainly, once the bill is out, we will study the bill. We'll have maybe even a panel to talk about and discuss about and analyze. But AMA would certainly try to do the call by even sending, the right kind of responses and suggestions, because this is what is going to be invited. So I'm sure you all would like to come that time, because please keep in mind. In fact, in the lighter vein, one of the chartered accountants, and I was a little slightly amused, from Surat called up and said, because I am going tomorrow to Surat and then after 2 days to Rajkot and all that. So he heard the first part and he said, Mukesh bhai, are you still coming to Surat? I said, yes. He said, but ab next week to bill aa jayega, fir ye budget ka kya? I said, wait a minute. This finance bill, and you always know, friends, finance bill, this is going to become law with whatever amendments with effect from 1st of April. And the president will sign it. It has just to be passed by the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. There is no other formality. But a new law, a new legislation has to go through a whole lot of procedure. It will be released, it will be put for public debate, there will be responses, there will be suggestions, criticism, comments. It will go to the select committee, then the law ministry, then it will be reviewed, and then it will be passed. So this bill of 2025, we have no idea whether it will become a law in 26 or it may even take a little longer. But this bill and the provisions that are here will continue as long as the new bill takes effect, just for the benefit of our audience.
I'm a senior citizen. How can I be exempted from my interest income and and shares income? That's within the
Yeah, all
structure.
that, yeah, I had mentioned, and I want to tell this because, as senior citizens, there is this 15G and 15H. 4 lakhs is your regular exemption limit for everybody. 12 lakhs is for your individual residence. Now, say there is a non-senior having income less than 12 lakhs and there is a senior citizen having income less than 12 lakhs. What will be the difference as far as there is no difference in tax now because that generation gap has been removed. But as far as TDS is concerned, if you feel that you don't have to any tax to pay, you can give a form 15G as a non-senior citizen only and only if your total income does not exceed 4 lakhs. Because if it exceeds 4 lakhs, then as far as the rebate is concerned, you are still liable to pay tax and then get the rebate. So the CVDT expects you to have your tax deducted, and banks will also deduct, companies will also deduct. They'll not accept 15G. But if you are a senior citizen, friends, and this is settled, it was there at 5, it was there at 7, and now it will continue at 12 because the circular is very much there. So if you are a senior citizen with income below 12 lakhs and you are having interest or dividend, you can file your form 15H and by taking support from this CVDT circular, you can pay zero tax. Means you can ensure that there will be no TDS.
No TDS. Yes.
Yeah.
Children remitting funds from overseas to the parents, are they taxable? And if
No,
yes, what is
no,
the rate?
no,
So they are
no,
not
they are
taxable.
not taxable. Yes.
What happens to this insurance premium mediclaim in the new tax regime?
In the new regime, friends, all these deductions, no more. And I believe the same pattern will continue in the new, because the new bill is going to reflect essentially the new regime. So under the new bill, there will be nothing like old versus new. It's going to be only one, right? Okay.
Multiple questions on income exceeding 12 lakhs with other than normal or within 12 lakhs with normal
I
and
think I
special
have
rate.
tried to do justice to
Abundantly,
all of
yes. And
them,
then that at
so
least
they
5,
can
7
be they
of
can
them.
be taken as read.
Yeah, and if objection is raised, they should be supported, or rather, if not object, at least the guidance.
Yeah.
Capital long term gain, મકાનમાં રોકાણ કરે તો long term gain માફ છે. So that's
Yes,
50,
of course.
54.
Yeah,
50.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
so
everybody is asking, what was there in old, what was there in new. Now, in the news regime also, and hopefully it will continue under the bill also, all your capital gains exemptions, particularly 54, 54 EC and 54F. 54 and 54F in respect of house, and 54EC in respect of capital gain bonds when you have sold a property. All these, and 54B if you are investing in agricultural land out of agricultural gains. So all this, at least for the coming financial year, for sure is going to continue. After that, we will know only after a week.
So the question is, any long-term gain can be invested in a house.
Yes, but then if it is 54F, there are conditions to be fulfilled.
Correct.
So subject to that, yes.
I am a doctor having a salary and a professional income from my practice. So how does this 12 lakh apply? So standard deduction on
First of
salary.
all, I'm glad that doctors have found time on a Sunday
Yes.
morning. Yes. Of course, we, Savan you and me, we sail in the same boat. And of course, you are a genuine doctor with a PhD. I don't have any doctorate. I remember in one of my lectures, somebody, it was a medical association. So they are used to saying doctor, doctor, doctor. So they said, now we request Dr. Mukesh Patel to, oh, sorry, Mr. Mukesh Patel. So I started with my opening remark. I said, wait a minute, you shouldn't have been sorry. Then he thought, in the profile, there is nowhere a doctorate. How is he? I said, you correct, address me as doctor. It was correct. The only difference is all of you sitting here, you look after the people's health. So you are doctors of health. And we look after the people's wealth. So we are doctors of wealth. So my professional brothers from the tax profession, whether you are a chartered accountant, practitioner, consultant, advocate, if you are looking after the people's wealth, you are a doctor. And I remember when I was studying in college, there was a friend who was there with me 1 year in the hostel at the MS University, and he was in medical and I was doing my law. So we had a debate. And he said, oh, we are more important. Why? Because we look after the people's health. We are going to look after them. I said, no, we are more important. Why? Because we are looking. So I said, wait a minute. I'll tell you how. I said, you doctors who look after the people's health would not be interested in looking after their health if we do not look after their wealth. Right? So who are the favorite patients of the doctors? Those who have a good fat purse. Okay, that's in the lighter way. Thank you.
Do you expect any surprises in the new tax bill? You mentioned cursorily, but anything that you see?
I think we've had enough of
At least
surprises
this
this
12
time.
lakh, 12 lakh will not become 11
Yeah,
lakhs.
let
for
this
sure.
be digested well.
FDR interest up to 1 lakh is tax free or TDS free?
It is TDS free,
Yeah.
not
And if
tax
the
free.
whole thing doesn't exceed 12 lakhs, then it is also tax free.
I had pleaded that the senior citizens at least, I had pleaded on this line, and you'll agree that for long-term capital gains, you have 125,000 exemption. Right? Now, seniors are more conservative. They don't want to necessarily go in the market. They want their senior citizen savings scheme to earn interest. So if you could have given 125,000 to seniors as a deduction, or any taxpayer as a exemption from long-term gains, you should have given something at least, even under the new scheme. But as of now, it's only TDS exemption. Yeah.
There's a retired professor who says that I have not opted for pension, so I get income which is taxable. Pension would get a standard deduction.
Yeah.
One.
Yes.
So should this not be taken up because you have been a part of the tax reform committee?
We are all closely watching what out of our report, which was confidential, is coming in the new bill, and then I'll be able to say something. Anyway, it's 75,000 is what they have.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to remind our audience, we have 15 more minutes, and we will stick to the AMA tradition of closing at 12:30.
We almost there are duplications.
Yeah.
Is this 12 lakh? So there's a question: can it be possible to convert your cash or a black money by showing income using this 12 lakh?
Unparliamentary question. Taken out of the minutes.
There's a chance to hike GST as income tax rates. I am not able to follow.
Baba,
Or is
अभी
there a
माँ
chance?
माँ लक्ष्मी की कृपा
Hmm.
चालू रहने दो ना, क्यों
Yes.
जीएसटी को? Of course, it's the GST council who'll do the job. Why do you want,
In the new tax regime, is the NPS deduction allowed or not? Deduction under section 80
that
CCD.
NPS Vatsalya? There should be something, but unfortunately, it's again an irony. They are saying 80 CCD 1B, but 80 CCD 1B is not exempted under 115 BAC for purposes of the new 80 CCD 2, which I was mentioning. For the gentleman who asked the question on the salaried, if as a salaried you thought all that you got was your basic salary plus only the standard deduction of 75, you are mistaken. Because whatever contribution, you are not going to get any deduction for your contribution, but whatever your employer contributes, and now they can contribute up to 14%. You know that, right? In what was there in government is now also for private sector. So say you are drawing, let me give a simple example. You are drawing a salary of 10 lakhs. And if at 14%, 1 lakh 40,000 is being contributed, there is of course that 2 lakh 50,000 ceiling, that otherwise it will be treated differently. But if it is within that 2 lakhs 50,000, under 80 CCD 2, that is exempt, and that is also allowed under the new regime. So that's just the way you can build up on that extra.
There's a suggestion, maybe again looking at you as a tax reform committee member, that I propose an economy which is 100% digital and only tax paid on expenditure and no income tax. Is this possible,
This
workable?
is this is an eternal economics question.
I know. New income tax relief 12 lakhs will continue. The answer is that it should continue, right? There is no question of uh, industrial production Trump 2.0. Will this disrupt? Is one question.
Well, friends, I am not a market specialist, nor am I an astrologer. So, if there are any market-related questions, what is going to happen? Uh, Michami Dukram. Yeah.
Net India talks about forex reserve. Maybe this question is for me. For
Yeah, please do.
forex reserve, but of this forex reserve, 95% FII, FPI, and NRIs, which are repatriable. Can India really harp on this forex? So I was coming to in one of my points, comments. I mentioned that this FDI, this is the actually I must have projected, if I could have projected, that FDI has been rising year on year, and there's a huge 1 trillion FDI already, which is a huge, and that has contributed to the forex reserve for sure. The huge FIIs or FPIs also coming in. Now, the difficult part is if this economy does not keep growing at the 6, 7, 8%, the FDIs will, over a period of time, reduce, which happened in 23, 24. This year, fortunately, it has increased. And the repatriation is good. This is all repatriable. Now, in the new world, there are very few sectors where there is a restriction on repatriation. So this repatriable, all the funds which have come in as FDI since 2000, because the FEMA came in 2000, they are now due, maturing, profits happening, and repatriations happening now. And this $35 billion repatriated this year versus $55 billion which came in as FDI. This is in the 8 months from 2000 April to almost whatever December or November 2024. So this is going to be certainly a concern, that tomorrow, if the economy doesn't keep on rolling, FDI would reduce, repatriation, we would have a negative impact on the foreign exchange reserve because of the FDI.
Yes.
Of course, NRI money that are always repatriable, but they are only increasing. And this is a global phenomenon. It's not about India, and there's no reason to worry that tomorrow our repatriation is going to exit, because we are still in another 25-year run where the economy
Soundbay, I
is
have a
growing.
suggestion. We
Yes.
have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can we slightly do a little different?
Yes.
We don't know what all these questions are.
That these
But
are now
but
all.
but if
Huh,
no no
huh.
if there are some members
Hmm.
who feel that their question, they have something in mind which has not yet come up, and they want to. Will we allow maybe a couple of questions from the audience
Maybe, but
if people
I
want to
think I
raise
have
hands?
covered all of them.
Okay,
I don't
please.
think anybody
If
would
at
have a
all, we'll
question.
give that what they say like a 0 hour. We'll give the
Yes.
last 2, 3, 0 minutes.
Yeah,
But you can
but I
continue
have
until
not
then.
missed on any. But
Yeah.
any question that you
Yeah.
have,
If
which
you
you
have
think that I
anything,
have
even a
not
supplementary, as
represented.
they say,
Yes, yes. How it is beneficial for industrial growth when the money market will increase due to large this consumption. So
Yeah.
this consumption naturally, Mukesh Bhai also mentioned that consumption
Even
will
you said
certainly,
that. That's right.
and that this consumption will give boost to the economy. There would be a multiplier effect. There would be a private sector investment coming in when there is a demand
Yeah.
which is coming
Yeah.
up. This is a question on, you said it is a great budget. What are your views on revised slabs? So
I
that's, I
think
think.
I would say these slabs બધાને મોડે ચડી જાય એવા છે હા 4, 8, 12,
4 નું
16,
ટેબલ આવડે
20,
બધાને
20.
વાંધો નહીં આવે.
Exactly. And I would really compliment whoever has thought about this very simplified, at least the tax structure. We only wish now you don't tamper with this, time and again.
Yeah.
It is something which deserves compliments. ભાઈ
So,
હોય તો જલ્દી લાવો હા
કોઈ
હવે
question
દુકાન
હોય તો
બંધ
લાવો,
થાય
because
પહેલા
we are done with the questions. These are the duplicate ones. But I think this was much to know.
any supplementary anybody feels
You can just say it loud also.
with the budget, let's not go
Related to
beyond the budget if possible, because this should have priority. But if there are any questions, please.
ITR extended up to 4 years. This amendment is discouraging,
Updated.
as what is proposed will result into effective rate of payment for 106. That's, I think, Ajay bhai mentioned,
Talked
and you
about it.
elaborated
Yes,
on that.
yes.
Certainly.
Yes, yes, please.
Yes,
Sure.
sir. Please,
We'll take.
you can shout out. Yes.
Yeah.
That has been extended to 4 years.
4.
Right. So if I have, yeah, thank you. So if I have sold some long-term capital gain equities in 2022-23, and I have not taken under my the property which I bought in the same year, so can I again
See,
file
updated
returns?
tax return is to pay tax. You cannot claim benefit of exemptions by saying ki I had forgotten to claim an exemption and therefore I want to claim it under updated.
Thank
That
you.
will. Acha, I'll tell you one thing. Be on the watch out. These days, you must have been reading in the newspapers, and I can say with statistics what the emails are coming regarding those who have claimed a deduction under Section 80 GGC for political donations. And there the emails say that already 90,000 updated returns have been filed, and sort of withdrawing their claims for about 1,075 crores. So this was only for these 2 years. So you can expect, such 80 GGC ghosts to be revived again for 2 more years. And in such situations, you are in a trap, because so you may want to buy peace, because otherwise you may have to get into. Of course, some of the good things I appreciate is the government's focus on decriminalizing. She spoke about it, that as far as TDS, TCS and all these things are concerned, we will not initiate prosecution and not go for anything that sort of, yeah. So I wanted more of this interaction, and therefore I did not go clause by clause, as they say. But yes,
Almost
Thank
all
you.
40
that takes
minutes.
care.
There's a
Yeah.
gentleman
Thank
over
you very
there.
much for
Yeah,
the
we will
awesome
take,
session, sir.
yeah,
And we
one
look
and one,
forward for
please.
another.
Thank you.
Yes, please. The ladies on the.
Yeah, if there is a lady, she'll get the priority. Sure.
Nari Shakti is one of the
Yeah.
pillars of the finance
And even our
minister's budget.
president's focus.
Diversity, no choice.
I wanted to ask, since last 2 years, government has been promoting new tax regime that does not allow any reductions under Chapter 6. So does that mean government is discouraging investments?
Well, this is the perennial question, and even economists have been saying, even if you read all papers, there are two sides to it. So the government believes, this is what the government believes, that they have done, a long innings giving support to savings, investments, etc. So they believe that, well, those who will save and invest will do it for their own good reasons. But now, and let me tell you one thing. One of the reasons amongst many, in fact, I would say there are three reasons for this jump in revenue. Let me just sit down, madam. There are three reasons for jump in revenue. What I said has gone up to almost three times, 300%, 295, I said. One is uh, obviously, this, because what used to happen, very well, like 80 GGC political donations, HRA, those fake receipts, LTC, paperwork, all these claims were being made thinking ki kahan scrutiny hogi, and government was losing a lot of revenue. So government said, we don't want to allow all this business at all, where you are tempted. After all, you are all living in Kali Yuga, you will have these kind of thoughts. And if
And
you don't have your thoughts, maybe your professionals who are supporting you, even for getting little better fees, they may want to support you with wrong thoughts. So we don't want, such thoughts to even come in your mind. So make it clear and clean. Just earn your income, pay taxes, go home. And the best thing that happened is AIS. What used to happen? Simple. When there was a policeman, people used to still cross. क्या खबर पड़े कितनी सीटियों मार से Lights, still policemen and lights, what they couldn't do together finally was done by the cameras. And on the highways with the speed guns, what was being done in Singapore, the same guy here, he would spit on the path, but
Yes.
goes to Singapore, makes it clean. So
signal.
yeah. So what I was wanting to say is, this is the second thing. And the third is, I'll wrap up, faceless. Because that has not given any chance. I know Unmesh Bhai is signing because, yeah, GTPL, our own YouTube. And I think somebody wants to say thanks to the audience. We've already done it on our behalf. But I think we'll conclude here with the lady's question. And only 1 minute before we close, we started on time, we'll end on time. AMA assures you that we will have, at the earliest convenience, after a reasonable study is done, a session on the new income tax bill. Because, you must do the splitting and the weeding, what is good, what is bad, and even if there is something ugly. Okay, so a big round of applause for all of you on a Sunday morning for sitting along. Thank you very much. Yes? Are माना कि हर जमीन को गुलजार न कर सके. This is what the FM has attempted to say. There are still, even after all this, there are still challenges, there are problems, there are questions. So the Shair says, माना कि हर जमीन को गुलजार न कर सके, कांटे तो कुछ कम कर गए गुजरे जिधर से हम. I am sure, 110,000 rupees you've been enriched is a big relief.
But काफी कांटे कम थे.
Thank you. All the best.